What's up everybody, this is BR, and let me tell you, I really like playing Sea of Thieves. I think the promise of having swashbuckling adventures in the open seas is just kind of a good attraction. I like adventuring, exploring, looting, and doing all that stuff, and there really is no kind of competition for Sea of Thieves out there that I can think of. Or at the very least at the same caliber of Sea of Thieves. And at the moment, Sea of Thieves is a relatively well-received game, but it wasn't always like that. In fact, even today, people still think that Sea of Thieves is extremely boring, as there really isn't that much to do in the game. But just like any other profitable live service game, this game is in a much better position now. Which brings me to the interesting tale that is the Arenas mode. You see, Sea of Thieves is not only just a game about looting and adventures, it's also a PvP game as well. And one of the most frustrating aspects of the game is when you're midway finishing a mission, or you already completed a mission and you have a lot of loot on you, and then you're attacked by a bunch of players who are trying to steal that loot from you. And it becomes extremely frustrating because, Sea of Thieves' mechanics aren't exactly the best in the world. A lot of it is extremely janky, but, I don't really expect much from it since this isn't supposed to be a first-person shooter. It's supposed to be a first-person adventure game. Although it may be annoying and frustrating, I don't dare call them griefers because that's one of the points of the game, which is to steal from other players and have ship combat. In fact, the game doesn't even let you be in a server by yourself and your crew. You have to be with other players. Part of the game is the interaction. In fact, there's even a class of pirates that's meant to be aggressive, only to be stealing, not so much adventuring. They are known as the Reapers. But even then, Rare did take a consideration in the fact that many players are complaining that the lobbies were just being way too frustrating to be in because they wanted to complete missions, but they didn't want to deal with everybody who wanted to do PvP. So what did they do? They tried to create their own mode where they encouraged this combat style, which is what the Arenas mode was for. But if you boot up Sea of Thieves now, you'll notice something interesting. There is no more Arenas mode. And why is that? Because nobody played it. If you read the Arena's official blog on its departure, then it is noted that only around 2% of their player base actually played Arenas at all. Which it isn't uncommon to have the more competitive based mode be a lot less of the community, but 2% is way too low, especially if you're trying to convince a huge portion of your community to play this more competitive style arena mode. If you'd like to see a much more in-depth look into the Arenas mode from someone who has a lot more experience with it, please check out this video by Disabled Chicken. It's honestly fantastic, and gave me a lot of insight into what the Arenas mode meant for a lot of players. Now, the reason why I'm bringing it up now is because it seems that this Arenas mode was basically my suggestion to what most games should have in order to reduce the sweatiness of most games, which comes from this video on the screen. My suggestion was that in order to off-sweat sweatiness, you would need to include a mode specifically made for those who want to, try as hard as possible outside of the casual player base. But now looking at Sea of Thieves and seeing that their arena mode failed, it makes me doubt that idea. And maybe the solution is somewhere else. But of course, the Arenas mode failing wasn't just because there was a lack of players, it was a lot more. It had to do with the roadmap, the lack of updates, the lack of incentive, a lot of things that were brought up in Disabled Chicken's video. But this brings up a very interesting situation where that kind of solution was attempted, but it failed unfortunately. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think maybe if it was executed a lot differently, had better incentives, then maybe the Arenas mode could have succeeded? Or do you think this isn't the solution in order to have competitive players move out of the casual space to, not interrupt that flow of casual matchmaking? Please tell me your opinion in the comment section below. Like this video if you like it, dislike it if you disliked it. If you'd like to see more content just like this, make sure to subscribe. And if you'd like to support me, I have a Patreon in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you later.